So, welcome to everyone. Hello. Let's start. So, before we get on with the reading and reflections, let's take a moment of silence to just gather ourselves. So, we stopped last time on page number 19. So, just picking up the threads from there. Just a moment. So, we'll be starting today for those of us. I also had to look up the last recording to check where we left last time. So, page number 19, in the ordinary life of man. We are starting from here today. So, would anyone want to read aloud for all of us?
I can read.
Of course, yeah.
In the ordinary life of man, progressive dislocation is a rule. The mental and the vital beings of man follow as best they can the movement of the universal forces, and the stream of the world's inner transformation and evolution carries them a certain way. But the body bound to the law of the most material nature moves very slowly. After some years, 70 or 80, 100 or 200, and that is perhaps the maximum, the dislocation is so serious that the outer being falls to pieces. The divergence between the demand and the answer, the increasing inability and irresponsiveness of the body brings about the phenomenon of death. By yoga, the inner transformation that is in slow, constant process in the creation is rendered more intense and rapid, but the pace of the outer transformation remains almost the same as in ordinary life. Um, should I follow?
I think it would be
As
nice
a,
to, finish it. Yeah, please.
okay. As a result, the disharmony between the inner and the outer being is one who is doing yoga tends to be all the greater, unless precautions are taken and a protection secured that will help the body to follow the inner march as closely as possible. Even then, it is the very nature of the body to hold you back. It is for this reason that to many we are obliged to say, do not pull, do not hurry. You must give your body time to follow.
Yeah, any thoughts, any reflections are welcome. I'm reminded of this. I think a few weeks ago, I come across a video on Pranabda, one of the disciples, very close to the mother in the ashram. And to him, mother said several times that you are the inspiration for physical transformation. So it would be nice for those of us who are interested to go through. I'll share it again. Maybe I didn't share on the healing group. It's quite possible. But it would be nice to go through that video, because in him we see that how mother gave her charge of like gymnasium and many body related, physical education related activities. And mother had a lot of faith on him, very simple heart, and not that complicated, and the body was ready to be mellow and to follow the path of transformation. So with him we see that it's quite inspirational to go through his story. So I'll share the video later on the group, and perhaps we can watch that to get some inspiration. Yeah. And as mother says that death is a old habit, dying is a old habit. I think that is what in integral yoga we see that, oh, this can also change, this can also transform, that it's just an old habit. And slowly, as we become more supple and enlightened in our consciousness, even the material nature, the cells of the body, mother says that as if death has become their habit. So they have to be reminded of their immortal nature, the physical cells of the body. But of course, that comes with all the practice and sadhana that we are at. And without, and as mother says that without changing your thoughts and feelings, don't think that you can directly jump to the physical transformation aspect. So because mind and feelings, thoughts and feelings are the most subtle things, as is shared in this paragraph. So they are easy to transform. So we have to start from there. As mother says, don't try to be an angel in the body if you're not already a bit of an angel in thoughts and feelings. So that's where the process of purification, we can't bypass it. And at times mother also have shared that many a times we try to follow a sattvic vegetarian diet, without changing our course thoughts and feelings, and that doesn't work. Because first there has to be a purification in sattvicity in thoughts and feelings, so that the body now also wants the sattvicity, the purity, in itself. Because if we do it otherwise, mother says that that can really actually make you malnourished, and the body can fall apart if you start changing or purifying, from the body aspect. So this is very interesting what is shared here, that we see it all around happening throughout, that old age really sucks. When it's old age, your organs are not functioning, you can perhaps stretch it to 90, 92, 95, maybe 100, but then there is a limit, you can't just go on and on and on. So after some years, 70 or 80, 100 or 200, and that is perhaps the maximum. The dislocation is so serious that the outer being falls to pieces. This is what we see happening everywhere, death. The divergence between the demand and the answer, the increasing inability and irresponsiveness of the body, like a stone like inertia of the body, that the spirit may be ready to go ahead, the body says no, 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 I'm too tired, maybe next time. So increasing inability and irresponsiveness of the body brings about the phenomenon of death. And as we can see that even so-called very sincere enlightened sadhaks like Nirod Baran, Nolinikant Gupta, and others, even they had to die. So we can see that it's not an easy process. This process of purification and transformation of the body takes a long time, takes a long time.
Yes, in fact, I think you were saying something like this the other day. Like many people who are maybe are not at all in any yoga and are just have a natural equilibrium, like a simple life and so on. Maybe they 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 would be more healthy than some people is really trying uh, to adapt to the demands of the soul, which can be very challenging. It can, in fact, this uh, this inner urge or transformation may lead to many difficulties in the body.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Yeah. Yeah, any thoughts here? Anyone, any reflections? So this is also so nice and very inspirational. By yoga, the inner transformation that is in slow, constant process. I mean, it has to happen, as Mother says in prayers and meditations, that the divine victory is certain. So whether we come to it after 10,000 lifetimes or whether we come to it sooner, the divine victory is certain. Progress is the way, no matter how many falls on the way. So, by yoga, by conscious collaboration in this process, by yoga, the inner transformation that is in slow, constant process in the creation is rendered more intense and rapid. So, as we see in the creation, what I see Mother may be referring to here, just a thought on it, that like in commentaries on Life Divine, Mother talks about how from stone we have become a plant. The consciousness has grown more supple. Then from plant you have grown into an insect. And then from an insect into animals, from animals into higher animals which have more evolved mental consciousness, emotional capacities, and then from that to, for example, now human beings. So this is the natural labor that the earth has been going through, that the consciousness is hidden in a stone. When we look at a stone, we can't feel that it is alive, right? So we think that, oh, it's just dead inert matter, because the consciousness is hidden in it. It's not just out in front, but it's there, it's sleeping. So but as we go forward, what nature has been doing to a plant, to little insects, then further now in a human being, the consciousness is in such a stature that you can see that, oh yes, consciousness is there. So it has come forward this much. But then we only in human beings, as human beings, we have the capacity to consciously collaborate, because here I have the capacity, oh, I can look, it's an ill will, and I can transform it. I can look, oh, thought is negative, and I can let it go. So this capacity is there, conscious collaboration is there with human beings, and that's why again and again we talk about it, that's why human birth is called so precious. That here we have the capacity to look, reflect, let go, and move on. From animal man we can become a divine man, but before becoming divine man we have to leave the animal behind. We can't just jump on to the divine man. So this conscious collaboration, Mother says that it is rendered more intense and rapid. That's why we have to use this precious human birth. But the pace of outer transformation, the bodily transformation, physical transformation, remains almost the same as in ordinary life. As a result, disharmony between the inner and the outer being in one who is doing yoga tends to be greater. What Yuan was talking about, this people who are very stabilized in materialistic consciousness, they are less prone to fall ill rather than people who are consciously now trying to, progress and go further. Yes. So this disharmony happens, but again, it could be a good indicator, and not, we don't have to dishearten ourselves that things are happening. Just a moment. But the pace, yeah, sorry. As a result, the disharmony between the inner and the outer being in one who is doing yoga tends to be all the greater unless precautions are taken and a protection secured that will help the body to follow the inner march as closely as possible. So I think here we have, I mean, what comes to me is that we have the golden key with us, which is the mother's name, Sri Aurobindo's name. And that's the protection we have. That not to leave that protection of constant remembrance of the mother, offering our life to the mother, and then we are, taken care of. Anyway, we are taken care of. I think already we are breathing, we are alive, we are functional. So many things are already good. But on this path where many dislocations may happen, protection is given if we constantly, tend to consecrate ourselves. Yeah. Even then, it is the very nature of the body to hold you back. I think we can all resonate with that. The spirit may be wanting to sit up, but the body doesn't let you. Yeah. It is for this reason that to many we are obliged to say, do not pull, do not hurry, you must give your body time to follow. Yeah. Yeah. So, any comments, any reflections on this passage? Anyone? I think in layman terms, we can also use the word many a times we do use that be kind to yourself. So don't push yourself too hard because many a times we want to really progress further, 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 but the body is not ready, and then it may just fall apart for some longer duration if we don't, take care of the body. That it needs some time to recuperate. So there it becomes very necessary to be kind to ourselves, means to be kind to this body, because that's the instrument with which we have to carry us forward. Yeah. Okay, so in absence of further reflections on this, we can go ahead. If anyone would like to read this much, the next one.
Yeah, I actually have a question. I know, of course, I've read this several times that do not pull, do not hurry. You must give your body time to follow. And yet, it's not very clear to me. I mean, I do understand that, when they say do not pull, it's like you offer and you open, right? You don't just, I don't know, like, I mean, I get it, and yet I'm not sure I get it. And I don't know if there's something more to get, but still, if you could speak a little bit more about on this, your understanding on just the last line, because when it says give your body time, so there must be a way when you know, right? That okay, now it's okay, now it's not. So just a little bit pointers if you can give. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, would anyone want to share anything on what Taru has just shared? Any thoughts, any reflections?
I don't know. It's a good question. I probably think that this 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 urge, pull to hurry is something from the mental activity, which is different from the soul aspirations. I think we cannot choose what our soul needs, and our aspiration is something obviously deeper down than our mind, and we cannot choose that. But probably we can avoid our mental ideas about how we should advance or something like that.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I think in very much resonating with what Yuan just shared, that we don't know really what's good for us, really. So, and the mind can't stop making images and thinking ahead, that where should I be right now. Mind just can't stop. It's like a continuous chatterbox, and it keeps on making plans and further plans and images that this is where I should be, right now. So it's very good to step back from that mental images, and that's where we can actually pull, because if mind is stuck in those images that this is where I should be, then it'll try to be aggressive. So actually nothing has changed. We think that when we enter spirituality, we change, but the same transactional mind which always wants to be ambitious and be somewhere, become somebody, that game is not ending even when we enter spiritual path. So I think this is very valid, and thanks for the question itself, that to step back continuously from our mental images about ourselves, that where we should be, and because we have no idea where we should be, and the divine knows the best. So when we are able to understand that since the mother would know best where I should be, then we can step back from those mental preoccupations, and then I think pulling can't be there. Pulling will only be there if there are some images where we are sticking to, and if the images are not there, then there is just an openness, like a flower is just blossoming, just, it doesn't need anything. It doesn't want anyone to give it attention. It doesn't want anyone to say, oh, how beautiful, fragrant I am. Nothing of that sort. So it's just open, and when it's time to fall down, it falls down, so that kind of an openness, like of a flower. Yeah.
In fact, at least in my experience, I started the spiritual path like believing, okay, I'm at the top of the hill, close to enlightenment. Like, and 10 years later, I was like, okay, now I am here on the floor. Like, I have to start from so little things that I am not even doing, like going down, 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 down. Uh, the mind can be very tricky about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think in prayers and meditations, Mother, in one of the prayers, I don't know which one, Mother shares about this, that who are we but nothing but a speck of dust in this vast manifestation. So, yeah, very humbling. And also when we reflect upon how grateful we already are, we already are taken care of, then also I think there can't be any pulling, because you see that, oh my god, you have so much already. So why would you pull? Because I would pull only when I feel a sense of lack, and that's the ego consciousness where I'm living with a sense of lack, and then trying to fill that sense of lack earlier through the worldly things, material thing, and now with the spiritual path or spiritual experiences. Only then I am compelled to pull. Otherwise, if we see that knowing Mother and Sri Aurobindo in this very lifetime, already we have their name with us. Already so much of blessing is there, and then there is no point of pulling. You already have contentment. Yeah, so there can be many ways, of course, to look at it. Yeah, anything more? Anyone? Taru, does this, I don't know, does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So basically, what I also, another thing that was like, doership probably is not involved in the doership way. Effort is involved, will is involved, offering is involved. But as soon as you say, okay, I want, I do, I will get, then it becomes that pull, ki now, okay, come, I want to sit on you. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, Priyanka?
Uh, Taru, it is a very beautiful question. And it has provoked a lot of thoughts in me, for and against, because I normally start thinking like that, though I might be inwardly, agreeing to it, but outwardly I question. So sometimes when I speak, it seems like I am not in sync with it, but that's not the idea. So, yes, you, it's so difficult to understand when is it that you are falling into the trap of inertia, that tamogun, and when it is that actually you're listening to the body and it is the need of the body. As we are talking about it, and we're saying that mind and soul, but we are mental beings, we are living in the mind. We are on a spiritual path, and our aspiration is to reach to that state of yoga. But I feel that's a long journey, and we are moving back and forth, and in all this we are certainly living in mind, because we are never devoid of thoughts. So and then again this thing came that, ego. Monica just mentioned about ego, that the sense of ego is the sense of lack. But yes, we all are living in ego, might be at different percentage. But if I would talk about myself, that transcending ego would be the limit of, I guess, then when you're dropping, when the dissolution of ego has happened, then you are in oneness. At least that's what I understand. Also, and these are all questions that have come to my mind. I'm not, because I'm still seeking through these questions, maybe trying to understand also that if you do not pull, then there are people who have excelled in various fields, in sports, and they also have a body which is made up of this matter, these cells. All of us have these same cells, and yet some of them, because they were able to, not limit themselves to a certain level, they practiced and practiced, and that is from where the excellence came. So I'm also wondering that, yes, one has to listen to the word. There is no doubt about it. This line is absolutely 200%. I mean, of course, there is no question mark about it, but it is so difficult to understand and to, because not everybody is living a spiritual life, yet people are excelling in various ways through this, just the body, and many of us who are, on a spiritual path, trying to, control our mind, our senses, trying to bring it in sync with the soul and all that. But we are also in this world living this life. We are mental beings. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to find the exact point where I can say that अभी मैं आलस में ये चीज कर रही हूँ या मैं अपनी बॉडी की बात सुन रही हूँ. I mean, is it really the need of the body? Because sometimes, my mind can trick me. And howsoever I might also, we all might be doing sadhana and all that, but we are also, have a family, living in this world, we are interacting with people, and all the time we are, bringing in energies and sharing our own energies, and with all that happening, it is so difficult to be in total sync with your soul and total connect with your soul. And but one thing that I would now, with all the confusions and questions that I have created, one thing that has just come to my mind is that whenever there has been a dilemma, and I have thought about it, And I've slept with that thought. I mean, I'm thinking and I'm trying to seek an answer. When I wake up, the first, what we all, when we wake up, there is a certain feeling inside. There's something that we feel. There are days when for me, there are days when I'm feeling very content, happy, when I'm so excited. I won't say excitement happens at that time, but there is a peace. But there are some days that there is that unrest, you know, and probably in all that I'm getting my answers too. So I feel morning is the best time that probably you are in, because you are in sync with your soul. That is why we also say that morning is the time to meditate, to connect with your inner powers, because the entire cosmos, the entire universe is, वैसे तो it is all the time, but that is more conducive. So I felt that, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing else that I want to say. That's it. I don't know if I've helped or if I've created confusions, but yeah, but it was a beautiful question, Taru. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Priyanka. Yeah. I think you already answered all your questions, that you sleep with the question. And then you have whatever needs to be out there in front of you is
Yeah,
there.
but it is a beautiful, thing to reflect and to, with so many reflections, you get to think and reinforce some beliefs and, yes,
Yeah,
searching.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. So I think let's move ahead a little. We can maybe take up a few further lines today. Would anyone want to read this much? The one highlighted in blue.
Illness is always a fallback into inconscience through the incapacity to sustain the movement of transformation. And death is the same thing. It is the same thing, only a little more total.
I think what a beautiful way to put how Mother relates that illness is a fall back into the unconscious, and same with the death, just that it's more total. I've never read anything like that before. Beautiful, really. So because there is an incapacity to sustain further transformation, so the body takes a rest with the illness. The body is just trying to, regather strength and heal tissues and things. And with death, it is the same thing. It's like a rest before the further journey can happen. Very interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned the word it takes rest, right? But for me, sometimes, many a times actually, I feel that it also protests and resists. You know how when it's a small child and you're asking them to do something and they don't want to, they would do the opposite a lot of times. So in me, sometimes I feel that that's it. There's some repulsion, there's some resistance. So that too comes, and then it's fine. Once you just let it act out, it's humbler and it's like, okay, fine, do whatever. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, anything more here? Anyone? Beautiful, really. I mean, I think if doctors would know this aspect of healing, it would really, really help so many of us patients. Really. Not only doctors, I think Priyanka is a doctor, so she is on the path. Very happy to see that. But not only doctors, but we all, our even normal individuals who are not really doctors, but if we approach any disease and illness with such an attitude, what mother shares here, that every disease has its own vibratory mode. It represents a whole field of vibrations to be corrected, and it is the exact measure of what in matter resists. I think this is what Taru was pointing at, resistance that is there. What in matter resists the divine influence, the exact measure to the atom. Wow. Yeah. I think many a times when even when we want to approach our illness or somebody's illness with this attitude, with a bit of understanding, many a times the social influences are so heavy that people won't let you actually many a times follow the maybe some inner intuition that you may have. So many a times we see that we have to fight with the normal protocols. For example, if you have cancer, so there is a well devised normal protocol that if you have cancer you have to undergo this. So but if somebody wants to challenge that, not like really challenge that, but really intuitively follow what their guidance is from within, so that becomes a challenge to that present structure, then many a times there is a lot of doubt and confusion that, oh my god, am I doing right? What if that I so many a times confusion also happens because the structure has become like that is reinforced to us from all sides, that if you have cancer and you are not undergoing regular scans, it's going to be bad. So like that kind of conditioning comes back to you again and again, through everywhere. So that's where one has to constantly, I think, especially in case of life threatening diseases, it's like if you are following your intuitive healing path, then it's almost like you are walking on the edge all the time, and with the noose hanging over your head, that anything can happen anytime, but you also know that you would like to experiment because you have a call from within to experiment. But it becomes very adventurous. Life becomes very adventurous. Yeah.
Good. Totally agree with you, Monica.
Mhm.
And so rightly said that if we are, all of us, not just doctors, as you said, everybody, if we are aware of, we are so much aware of everything outside of us. Even doctors, though we are aware of the human body, it is just the physical aspect of the human body. There is so much more to it, and we are not aware of it. And as it talks about the vibratory mode, each one of us are vibrating constantly because we are made up of cells, and the cells are made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of electron, proton, neutrons, and electrons are constantly in motion. So though our own vibration is not felt by us, but we are constantly vibrating, and each cell has a certain vibrational frequency. We all know about it. Dis-ease is not at ease when the cell is not at ease. And in other sense, it means that its vibrational frequency has reduced, become less than what it should. So it is, the potentiality is to rise up, up, up. But for some reason, if we are living in a certain state of mind, stress or whatever, in today's times, the root cause of every disease is stress. You pick up any disease and it is stress, because stress is bringing about all the changes in our body, hormonal changes, physical changes, emotional, everything is doing that. So what it is doing, it is reducing the vibrational frequency of these cells. And some cells are vibrating at a lower frequency than the others, not at ease, they are not in harmony, depending upon what kind of stress we are going through, what kind of emotions we are all the time carrying. Accordingly, the different organs of our body which perform different functions are affected. And this can, this can be, we can go on discussing about it. That's not the idea. But even if we understand that, there's this book called Power versus Force, if any one of you have know about it, written by David R. Hawkins. So he has, in this book, he has written about the vibrational frequency of every emotion, like how when we are happy, what hertz frequency we start vibrating at. So when we meditate, or when we do any kind of singing of bhajans, or even singing of songs, we start feeling so happy, we start feeling so much of peace inside, because by doing those things we have changed the very energy field within ourselves. And this energy field is nothing but it's just the vibration. From vibration there is energy. So when we chant any chants, or whatever we do, and when we are raising the vibrational frequency, we are changing the energy field, then we are changing the way we are only feeling about our own self. So it's so beautiful that we are, when we feel angry, or when we have those negative emotions, and at that time we are drained of our energy. And I often feel that doing physical work does not drain you so much than when you are mentally, in a certain, thought pattern where you are stuck, and there is a vicious cycle, any negative thought pattern, when we get stuck, and, our brain keeps on firing till we get into the zone of being a victim, and we are totally drained of our energy, and we feel that, you are exhausted. And then even a small thing can trigger all of us. And I can see Monica smiling, because I can understand that, what I'm talking is nothing new. You all know about it, but it is so beautiful that we can reinforce it again and again, that if we are feeling in a certain way, it is us, it is our thoughts, it is our mind, which has, through the thoughts, has changed the vibrational frequency, has changed the energy field. We have the power to do that. We have the power to undo that, but it is more easily said than done, because I have also felt that when I am in a certain state of mind, when I am angry, then to stop myself and to immediately change into a very happy person is almost seems impossible. And I often get into the grip of, the reactive mode of spilling out my anger. But many a times when I am not that angry, when I am relatively okay, though I am not so happy also, and I have started chanting a chant, and I've, just 5-10 minutes, my energy field, by the time I have, that end of these 10-15 minutes, I am that same person with a different outlook. My situations are the same, only my way of looking at my own life has changed, and my acceptability of the same situation. So it is I who have changed that energy field within myself. And it is so empowering, Monica. It is so beautiful. And if we all could even start to believe in it, we here, I'm not just talking about we here, because we are discussing, probably we all are in this journey, but if, as you are holding these sessions and more people get to know about it, and more people at least practice this, it's going to be so beautiful. So as we have done in the previous session on Friday, that humanity, that serving humanity, the best way, it has really stayed with me, Taru. So the best way of serving humanity is to work on your own self. And how beautiful can this be? Because when I am angry, my entire house, everybody is at a red alert, and सब चुप हो जाते हैं, सब दुखी हो जाते हैं, सब अपने अपने रूम में बंद हो जाते हैं कि अब पता नहीं क्या होने वाला है. And how if I can be, in a happy state, then everybody is happy. So this one little thing change in me changes the entire energy field of my house. It changes the mood, it brings everybody closer together. If we can do it more and more, this will spread and go out, not just in my home, out to this whole cosmos, if all of us do it. And it is so beautiful. So connecting this with yesterday's, trying to remember, trying to reinforce within myself what I learned yesterday. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah. There is a field of science, maybe some of us may know about it. So it's called kinesiology, and where they have research, and still the research is going on, that if you have a positive thought, then the positive thought, it increases your muscle power. The strength is increased with the positive thought. And if you remember, like if you are holding something, it's to do with the strengthening capacity of your limbs. And they study it like, if there is a positive thought you think of, then the same limb which is feeling weaker, the same limb immediately, instantly gains a lot of power and energy which it did not have. And immediately, if you think of a negative past event or negative person in your life, immediately with a drop of a second, you change that energy in the body. So that's how powerful what you were sharing, our thoughts and these shifts are. And if we have been granted with this capacity to shift our inner attitude, why not make use of it? Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's years ago that I read about it, but what is coming to me is that they used to test the power of a sentence by what is the strength it is giving to the muscle. So for example, is there is a chant in front of me which makes sense to me, like if I'm Christian, maybe something from Bible would make sense to me, right? And if I read it, suddenly you see that you can lift more weight. So that's how you could see that what would work for you. So it was very interesting. Kinesiology, Kinesiology. Yeah. So we have proofs. I think many a times we think that we don't have proofs that these things work, but even now science is coming closer and closer to give us proofs of these intangible so-called things. Yeah.
And this is so much important in sports, Monica.
Mm-hmm.
The sports spirit, sportsman spirit, if
Yeah.
they don't, have this, it is such so much a mind game
Yeah. Yeah.
that they excel and they are able to perform, because everything is to perform with these muscles that you're talking about.
Right.
And until and unless this positivity, that positivity is the strength, because it's the vitality in the person, the life force energy,
Hmm.
that is so much more powerful than the physical body.
Yeah.
So it is that energy which gets transfused, which gets awakened more and more. So important what you said.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I think what Mother talks about, like how important is the inner attitude, no matter whatever is the outer circumstance. So we can see how important it is. Yeah. Yes, Claudia, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, it's maybe a opposite reflection. I mean, no opposite. Well, it's a question reflection. When I do this exercise of positivity, yes, of like everything is fine, life is perfect, things are good. It's just like I exercise, yes, like tame my mind to not go in the negative. Then comes a big wave with negative, because I think it's nature, it's like if you push too much to one polarity, it's going to come the other polarity, yes? So then it's like this kind of deep depression after, because it's like, oh God, what is this? Just it's like when you go to a beautiful, perfect retreat or luxury place and you have the best impressions, and then you go back to life and you are like, oh God, I don't like it and I want to go to the other place. And you try to hold into you the best of the best of the best of the what do you think is the best, yes? And in my understanding, and also what I am learning every day, is that, like you told me, and I am trying to verify it's true. It's like, and you are telling now, yes, it's like to be present to every little moment with this attitude of, I don't know if like this passionate positivity or thing. It's just, I don't know, it's something that is inside that you don't have to express it. I mean, it's not necessary because God already knows, you know? It's not necessary to like to be noisy or to be like loud or to be like, it's just be like in front of the impression, even if it's bad impression, if you think that it's bad impression because it's what you learn, you know? So you just observe it and take it and say, okay, this is it. I have this now. I am in this moment. And what is important is the present of my soul that is living here, and how I going to hold the moment, how I going to hold that present. I don't know if we are speaking about the same, yes, about if you are speaking about that positivity, that because yeah, many years I have this like, let's be positive, yes, um like repeating positive thoughts inside. And yeah, observe works, but I told you, it's like I came after this negative wave and the body. So I don't know, just reflecting and thinking and asking this.
Yeah. Your sharing reminds me of Sri Aurobindo telling us that when Vedic rishis used to do sadhana, they used to have these periods of night and dark. I don't know, maybe some of us may have come across this part where Sri Aurobindo says that uh, why? Because as long as ignorance is still there, we will need these ups and downs of very good days and then dips and then again good days and then again dips. So this can't be helped, and that's why mother says that well, integral yoga is not that easy, because one needs to just persist through all these dips and falls and failures and dust off the pants, get up again, get going. These will come as long as ignorance is there, as not long as darkness in conscience is there, which is going to be there for a long time, for if our lifetimes are considered. So the only thing, as you were already sharing, I think the only thing is to be to just go through them. We don't have any other option actually, if not to go through them, these dips and highs and lows and dips and whatever comes on the way. So and if I'm not misinterpreting it, Sri Aurobindo also said that these nights were the period of some kind of assimilation, because a high, there is a high that you get, like something dawns into you, you get an clarity, you get an understanding, and all is really good. Then suddenly you get a very deep dip, and these dips are the phases where what you learned in that enlightened phases is now getting assimilated and becoming part of your actual practical life. So these dips are also periods of assimilation. Just like if we look at our lives, many a times there are high phases and then there are challenging, disturbing phases. And if we have really read something which went a little bit inside of us, then that learning will become a practical learning through these difficult, challenging phases. Otherwise, it just remains a theoretical understanding. So it is in these difficult moments that we actually are able to practically assimilate some of what we may have learned, heard, understood, reflected upon. So, I mean, the only thing is to let them be. What can we do? They will come and go and come and go, and we will still go on. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like the phrase, no, that was reading about that Taru was asking, yes, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that pull. I don't know, just like, yes, the body needs, I mean, maybe you cash it with the mind, and maybe you, I mean, yeah, do not pull, do not hurry. You must give your body time to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel, yeah, it's like this, yes. Okay.
That's why one must not get disappointed and just persist. So a lot of perseverance, persistence is required, because it's okay. These phases may come. Yeah. Yes, Yuan, you wanted to add on?
Yes, I was thinking about this. It's so interesting. I also was thinking that positive thoughts are good, maybe can be helpful, of course, but uh, positive thought is a mental formation, would say, in the words of Mother, and a mental formation, a positive thought will be clashing against a lot of negative thoughts, maybe reinforced by years from our childhood or even from the collective mental plane. So our mental power is not so effective. It will not be a very powerful tool. So I think that is why, in other words, we are meant to give it to the divine, to allow the mother to work in us, because we have to open ourselves to a higher power than the mental in order to overcome these negative feelings and thoughts, depression and despair and everything. Like it's good to try to build some positive thoughts. It's always helpful, but what we can do with our mind, with our thoughts, is not that powerful against all the other formations that are around us. So we should always think that the response might come from higher planes, to open ourselves to our soul, to the mother, receive that help.
Yeah. Yeah. Arpit, you have something to share?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that so there's two things that I think at the moment, which is the main issue right now with when it comes to the body. And I think like one of the things is that first of all, like body, obviously it's working on a subconscious kind of a basis, which is like things are just happening based on some mechanical process that we don't really have kind of like a control over. Like your heart runs automatically and your cells are doing their own thing, your organs are doing their own thing and all that. So this kind of like bringing in some kind of a control by becoming conscious of these things in the body is obviously like something which is very difficult. This is what Mother obviously was doing to a certain extent, and probably more than that. But what I'm saying is that like it's so difficult to think of it even right now, that you are in control of your liver, you're in control of your intestine and your stomach and your pancreas, your kidneys, and all these functions, because that level of control, one way to do it is to this is something which can be done, which is that you can bring in like a force or something like that, a force of harmony, force of peace, force of like bring in some light, which automatically, as an automatic process, kind of harmonizes everything. But to actually do it by becoming conscious of each and every cell, and to do it like that, that is something which Mother was trying to do, which is something almost like a impossibility to our ignorant consciousness. And And even there's two things. One is to, like, okay, obviously, like, that's the transformation, and that is something which is very difficult to even imagine how we can do it. But and to what extent it can happen. But I guess the main thing is that what we are looking for, I guess most people are looking for, is some kind of a cure to illnesses. And obviously some things are easy to do, like if you have a illness of some sort, of like if you have a fever or cold, something a little bit mild, then you can improve your mood and your all those things. Like you can cure your fever, you can take rest, increase your vitality. There is like different processes for that, and you can do it using, whether you can do it using a mechanical process like pranayama or something like that, which is regular breathing exercises, or you can do it through like there's different processes. But there is obviously the fact that there's other illnesses, and there's so-called incurable illnesses, where the effect is in some cases it is easier, in other cases this is the thing where we are at the moment, that it just looks like an impossibility. So like it just feels like the progress that we still have to make, not just we as in individuals, but as a collective, like as the body itself, the amount of unconsciousness which is in the body, and how like responsive it needs to get to your will, to a mental will, or to any kind of will, is like, it's like the difference is so huge right now, the gap between where we want to be, the ideal body in which everything is in control, each cell is responding accordingly, and if you have some illness or some scar, that it heals itself. If there's some tissue which needs to replenish itself, rejuvenate itself, that it rejuvenates itself. And like Mother has healed so many people, and Shri Aurobindo's force, they would open up to Shri Aurobindo's force, and then the force would come in, and their illness, their pain, their symptoms would disappear. But this is what has been happening. But to do it at a level that your own mind is able to change your body, change your appearance, change it, absolutely, it's still very far away. So that's what the problem seems to be.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah. So I think I want to just share two things which were coming to me after Yuan and Arpit have shared their sharings. One thing is that Mother shares that you think that the medicine works, you think that any process works, you think that a method works, a surgery works, but the only thing that works is grace. So all these things, no matter how many infinite number of tools we may devise, they cannot be efficient if not for the grace which is behind them. So that really solves a lot of problems and mysteries for us, that if not for the grace, nothing can help us and nothing can heal us. And if for the grace, even a dirty water from, anywhere can actually heal us. And there are stories, especially in India, there are many, many stories of people getting healed just because they had faith. It's not that the doctor was amazing or the master was amazing with miraculous powers. Nothing of that sort. Just because they had a solid, unshakable faith that if the grace decides that nothing should touch them, then absolutely nothing should touch them. That's what the grace has decided. So I think that really solves a lot of things, many doubts and confusions for me personally. And the second thing is that we were talking about power of thought. And although Yuan was sharing, which I resonate with, that mental formations have a relative importance. They don't have absolute cure. But Mother herself, in one of the compilations by A.S. Dalal, it's called Powers Within. It's a very powerful compilation, Powers Within, where Mother talks of power of thought and power of imagination in the beginning, and then she takes on the power of faith and power of will also. So there Mother shares that uh, if thought can create illnesses, look at the power, the thought or the mental emotional feed that I am giving to myself, if that has the power to create illnesses, then it can also do vice versa, it can change. So Mother says that since we are in such a state that we are all the time thinking, so Mother says that if you have to think, this is the line she uses, if you have to think, I say to people, okay, turn your thoughts into a positive direction. For example, if a negative pattern is coming in my head and I'm becoming conscious of it, so what do I say to myself? Maybe there is a person, relationship, anything that I'm concerned about, my own health, and all the negative things are coming. So I notice the negative thinking and I immediately, using the power of my will, change it. Like how to change it? Like, I know that I don't know, and Mother knows the best and she will do the best. So like in chain, what other pattern was repeating, negative pattern, you repeat this pattern to yourself so as to override the negative pattern. And this is why positive affirmations work very well with us. I remember when I was initially, years ago when I was diagnosed, then I used to be concerned about what would happen, is my bladder okay? And I used to write diaries and diaries, like I used to fill the diaries with saying my bladder is full of light and it's clear and shiny and, whatever makes me, give that consolation. Unless it became a part of my being, that yes, now there is an unshakable faith that if Mother does not want, nothing can happen to me, and if Mother wants, I will go through anything. So I think to override those negative patterns, negative thinking, many a times this on the top adding layer of positive thinking, since all the time we are thinking, we can be sure about that. So why not chant Mother's name, or override it and make that our pattern rather than the negative being the pattern. So there is a lot of power hidden in the power of thoughts and imagination. Yeah, Mother says a lot about this, many things, and many practical examples she gives where people were able to grow their hair, just the power of thought. The person is visualizing, oh, my hair is full and grown, and how good am I feeling, and the hair grows back. For those of us who want hair. Yeah, or anything else, I don't know. Yeah, any
In fact,
last comments, anyone? Yes, Yuan. Yeah, please.
I was joking. I said thank you for sharing that. Totally.
So if I find the PDF of that compilation, I'll share it, Powers Within. I don't know if it's it may be yeah, I think it was available. Yeah, I may have it somewhere. It's really nice nowadays. Many PDFs and compilations are just freely available online. Yeah. Yes, Priyanka?
Yeah, so very beautifully said, Monica. Thank you so much. And just add, just the thought that came to my mind, the power of thought that you were talking are in the medical terminology. There is a situation which is called pseudo pregnancy, where by just the power of thought, a woman, abdomen starts distending like a pregnant woman because she's obsessed with the thought of being pregnant. And this is something scientifically proved. It is there, it exists. We create it. We are very powerful beings. Just that we do it unknowingly. It happens all the time, but it is accidentally done. And when something bad is happening, you are doing it because we are not aware of it, so we don't realize it. But the moment we start also understanding it, that it is my doing, we empower ourselves. And then if it is my doing, if I can bring this into my life, I can take it out of my life too. That is That is the belief. That is the samarpan. That is the surrender. That is the faith. That is the trust. And that certainly we can practice to bring it within ourselves. Why not? If it can make me a better individual, if it can make me healthy, if it can make me, rise up in my spiritual journey, then why not? If it can take me closer to Mother, to Sri Aurobindo, then why not? Because they are all the time talking about it. They're only talking about this only. Everywhere it is talking about this only. So why not? Why should I get any? I'm not saying that there are no challenges in anybody's life. The negative things are not happening. Yes, they are happening. I'm not saying that shut your mind away from that. Yes, we have to be acceptable to that. We have to accept that. Yes, the challenges are there. So we might be in the grip of that, but accepting it is the first step. Only then we will be able to change it. Because if we are saying, no, everything is happening good in my life, I should be thinking positive, I should be happy, it is not going to happen like that. First, accept whatever it is, whatever. And when we start accepting, that is where we start making that change within ourselves. And just that. So why not? The mother that we all worship, that we all, adore, love, that love is, there is an essence of divine in love. Love is divine. So why let anything come in between that? Why that negative thought that takes us away from our own divine self, the mother within all of us? Why not? So I'm all for it. Please go ahead and create those neural pathways for positivity. Yes, negativities will be there, but if we try to look a positive in every negative, there is always a positive, because everything is there to help us transcend our own limitations. If everything is positive in life, how else we'll rise up? We have to rise up. So with every positive, there has to be negative. With every negative, there has to be positive. Till all the negative perishes and there is only positive. But till then, this journey has to be there. And there's, as Claudia was saying, that when she starts, uh, creating patterns in her mind that, she should be more positive, then that is the time when a lot of negative thoughts come. So, the thought that came to my mind was that when you start walking a certain path, then understand that we are all full of negatives inside us. Subconscious is all full of that. It is probably coming to the surface because it is trying to escape. It is trying to find escape to get out of you. So it will come up. And the more you are deeper into sadhana, when you are deeper into your meditative practices, there are a lot of turmoils happening. That doesn't mean that there is something wrong with the sadhana. It's not that. But because these are all our hidden negative, let's call it powers or whatever you can call it, within ourselves, which are finding their ways to escape out of our system. Fear, jealousy, hatred, whatever. So they will come up on the surface and you will feel them till you let them go. This is what I feel, little bit that I have understood. There's so much more, but you said it very beautifully, Monica. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Priyanka. Yes. Arpit, you want to add on?
Yeah, so just one thing. So what I'm saying is that, see, when it comes to, since we're talking about the body and physical consciousness, there's two things. One is that obviously inner consciousness and being happy on the inside, in your mind and your inner being. That's one thing. Like, you know how the sadhus are sitting there with their hands and the hand is dead and the leg is dead and they're smoking some ganja or whatever and they're happy inside, and or like whatever is happening. The agoris are sitting on the bank of the Ganges, and then they got all the ashes everywhere and mud and everything, and they're just blissed out on the inside. That's one thing. Like, to be blissed out on the inside, you're conscious of things on the inside. But what this thing is about is to bring that down into the body or into your life energies, into the whole system and each and every single cell, and to this is happening. Everybody is aging nonetheless, and things are changing. There's different energies, different vibrations, different circumstances, all sorts of pathogens, all sorts of things are happening. But how that healing can be effective is dependent upon the receptivity of the cells. And the receptivity of the cells is once again requires the sadhana of the body, because to become receptive in the body is the whole process, which is what we're talking about. So yeah, I mean, starting from your mind and healing your mind and having positive formations, and then they will obviously have an effect on your body, but the level of the effect, because if you look at it practically, what we're talking about is that, okay, I get a little bit of healing and this and that, it's all good, but people are dealing with major issues which are life-threatening or chronic issues, and to deal with that, the level of the force, the force that is needed, the intensity of the force, the what can you say, the consciousness, the level of the consciousness, like there's different, like you can bring your mental force, you can bring the intuitive force, or you can bring something even higher than that, and then it depends upon where how can you deal with, how is your body able to how much of it can be receptive to, and whether or not that force is too much, because that's what the pulling thing comes in from. What this pulling thing is basically saying is that once you have access to this force, like to get the access, you obviously have to go through some process of inner opening and opening your body as well. But once you have that access, and if you can pull, because obviously once you have the access, you are able to link to it. And if you link to it, like for example, like some kind of a electric force that you link to, and you bring it into the system and the system's not able to deal with it, then that's just going to cause you more harm. So this is the whole thing. This is the whole problem. And if you don't do that, then the change doesn't happen. So if you don't pull, then you don't get the change, because what is needed for the body to heal itself? The only thing that we can do then is to some kind of, we can just aspire and open ourselves to Mother and just be like, yeah, this, you do it for me, because to do it consciously through a conscious process is, there's a lot of factors there. And it depends upon the access to the force you have, the receptivity of your body, the openness of your body, if it's able to adapt to that force, if it's able to how much it is able to react, and if it's are the cells and the organs able to adhere to that force, and there's lots of factors, and it's constant work day and night through a long process. But the problem is that it's just so difficult that people would just be like, okay, is it even is it almost an impossibility? In some cases I'm talking about, and it might be an impossibility in some cases. That's also true. And at the same time, when you talk about that everything is a grace, yes, that's true. All the exercises and medicine and techniques of yoga, there's different processes hatha yoga, there's different processes, asanas, pranayamas. I mean, these are processes that they have a mechanical effect as well. But if you add the faith and spiritual force to it, then obviously the effect will be more and more effective, because that then acts like a catalyst. The spiritual force then acts it's like a, what you call like a higher level of force, higher gradation of force. So instead of just being limited to the physical laws of nature, it's actually a higher kind of a gradation, which is behind the scenes, and from behind the scenes it works, and it's able to have a higher effect. So this is what I'm saying, is that there's different levels, gradations of forces that you can bring in. There's different gradations of conscious energies and processes. And sometimes these lower practices like Hatha Yoga, for example, pranayam, and even using like Ayurveda to make your body more and more receptive, these can work from the lower level, whereas the higher level, you can bring in a higher force. So this is, but what I'm saying is that still it's so difficult. Still, there's the difference where we want to be and how effective we want to be is just so difficult. That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah, thank you, Arpit. When you were sharing, it's so difficult, um, knowing that it is difficult. But I'm reminded of a prayer of the mother. Let me see if I find it. Very hard to locate it just now. But the crux of the matter, where mother says that, "O thou whom we have seen yesterday," something like that, a day before she had the darshan of Sri Aurobindo when she came to Pondicherry. And she says that if who we have seen yesterday, if he is here, then it means the victory is certain. So, I mean, knowing that it's a long, 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 arduous journey, but who cares when Sri Aurobindo and Mother have said that victory is certain? And this also reminds me of a very popular story where there are two people doing sadhana. One is a bhakta, a devotee, and Taru, would you like to share that story?
You share it, it's so beautiful. That's why
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
please go
smiled.
ahead.
And
Go
actually,
ahead.
I also, it's like, I think, and they have names, right? Like they are big names and stuff, and I don't remember them. So one was a very established speaker, and the other person was like a regular, kind of a new beginner who was just meditating under a tree. And they were both in a forest, and I think it was Narad who was going to meet the god. And they said that, could you ask him a question for us? And the question being that when will I reach? When will I become you, or will I reach enlightenment? So he was like, sure. And then when he came back, they asked him, and to the senior seeker, the rishi, he said that God said it will take you 3 more births. And he got really angry, and he was like, my God, like so much I'm putting in, so much I have done in this life and stuff, and whatever before, and this is too much. God is arrogant, or he's unkind, and he just got up and just stormed away from where he was. At least that's what I remember. And then when he came to the chap who was sitting under the tree and meditating with love and devotion. So to him, Narad said, God said that however many leaves are there on the tree above you, those many lifetimes it will take you to reach where you want to reach. So, and that person started, dancing with bliss and joy that, my God, so that means there is a number. So, that means I will reach. The gods are so kind and so loving that for somebody even like me, they have it. It is my destiny, and I'm so happy. So, I don't know if it's, they say that he reached it that moment because he was so happy with that. So, that being the story, and yet the bhav, right? The basic thing with which, and the story also reminds me, what you were sharing about that mother knows, right? Mother knows. Like, for me also, if I'm just sharing again from personal experience, like, I fall sick, right? And I fall sick, and my main thing is not to take anything, just to be with it. I try, like you were sharing about cancer, right? That people don't let you be, and you lot of time get influenced. So cancer is a big word, right, in a normal conversation. But even if you have, say, a cold, a cough, a flu, there also, it's like, why are you doing this to yourself? What's wrong? It'll take you 2 days, otherwise it'll take you 3 weeks. Kind of those stories start. And lot of times one is able to maintain and hold their ground, But at times I feel my body even refuses to take more. Like not refuses, like something in my somewhere gets weak. And then I'm looking for supplements like, say, I don't know, even homeopathy. Sometimes it feels that, oh, I had to take it, this time, and I couldn't hold on. Like I just got tired and felt too weak. And then that thing comes, that, oh, maybe you're lacking in faith, maybe you could have more, I don't know, more certitude, and you probably don't have it. And then immediately as it comes, just shifting it to, but I love the mother and the mother loves me, and this must be the way. And so it's like it's really helpful, because otherwise the area where you go to, the place where you go to, that, oh, mujhse nahi hoga. Or even, like the word impossible that you were using, Harpreet, that impossible word, now I have a lot of friction with, because I know that it's not there, right? It's just probably it's not my time yet. And I know that in sincerity that no, I haven't paid enough price, right? Like it's still so much to do. So even if it takes as many, I don't know, leaves as there are on that tree, but yet if I'm told that yes, and we are told, right? We are told. And again, like you were saying in Mother's prayers, almost each and every prayer is with this, right? That but your victory is certain, because yeah, so it really keeps it going in a positive, in a right direction, right? Because then we lose a lot of time. I mean, we still would head in that direction only, but the time we waste in the guilt and the victimhood and main bichari and mere se nahi hoga is saved if you can just catch yourself that okay, that doesn't matter, but she loves you, right? You know that, right? So just it puts me in correct perspective just about, or as soon as I fall, I'm able to, by grace, get up. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. I think as the Sri Aurobindo says that impossibility is the beginning of newer possibilities, something like that. So yeah, great. All right, so before we end, I think we'll start again from where we left, pick up the threads from there. And before we leave, let's take last one moment to just share the merit, and may everyone be at peace. May our hearts be at peace, and may we have lots of joy and progress in our lives. Sharing the merit of these discussions and reflections with everyone. Okay. So thanks everyone, and thank you for being here, listening so patiently, and sharing and reflecting and questioning. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bye.
everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.